Well, hello everybody. Welcome here, welcome back, whatever the case may be.
Hello, peekaboo.
Don't worry, it's just my coffee. So as I said, welcome here, welcome back. This is the outfit I had on earlier today. Now I'm sitting here without a shirt on because it is still warm and humid inside the apartment, even with the fans going. It's not weather to have the air conditioner on, so we're not running that, even though we don't pay for the hydro for that. It's included in the price of everything else that we're grandfathered into here. Now, it's very windy out, and I should open the windows, but even with the wind outside, it doesn't really circulate in because we have a whole row of windows that goes across the whole apartment, right through the bedroom, everything. And because they're all on the one side, we really don't get airflow that comes in and goes around. It just doesn't make it into the apartment. So the fans help move things around and help bring in a little air from outside and send some of the stale air out and things like that. But that's the best we can hope for. End units have windows on two different walls, so they can get a cross breeze going on a lot of days, so they have a different advantage. French vanilla coffee. So yummy. Now, I have been doing a lot of things. I'm having so much fun with the AI, and what I think I might do is, while I'm doing this, I might go into Bing Image Creator, which I think has actually changed the name. What is it? This is Bing.com Images Create from Microsoft Designer Bing. Anyways, you look up Bing and it'll come up Image Creator from Microsoft Designer -Bing. And that takes you to a site. Well, I should turn this on and start recording. So I'm gonna record the screen so I can share this with people and figure out how to do this stuff better, because I've only done it a couple of times and I haven't really talked live while I'm doing things here. Multitasking with the coffee and everything else. So you end up going up here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted at all. You come up here and you type in something. I don't know what we're going to type in, so we're going to go incredible, huge butterfly made of colors never before seen. The background is I don't know, is magically delicious? No, magically unfamiliar and otherworldly, unreal. And I'm gonna go hyper realistic. And we go over here to create, and that takes away some of my points. You start 15. It was 15 during the day, and they do come back on things. So right now it is Oh, there we go. Here we have some things. So this is how I create. You never know what you're gonna get. But really, really. Oh. See, that one's nice. That is nice. I love that one. That one's coming with me. I'm gonna download that one. And that's beautiful. I like this sort of 3D texture, but it also makes it a little weirdly creepy for me. Oh, loving that too. And so then I go to here, see, and I'm gonna save these as create a new collection. And I'm going to call this Magical Butterflies. And then I'm going to go and select that. So that's what that puts there. And I'm going to take that off of the Ornate Hearts one. So I don't want that on Ornate Hearts. I want that on Magical Butterflies. There is a way to get that to, sometimes it does it on me, where it will put it right on the one I want and not that, but there we go. Saved it to the collection we wanted. So then we take that and let's see, and I'm gonna go down to here, up. Geez, I'm showing all of my things here. So they're pictures. So I'm going to go into pictures, images to use, AI pictures, and I'm going to make a new folder. This is how I run out of space on my computer, you know. Magical butterflies. That's going to pop into, oh, LMNOP. No, it's in the right order. So I have to go to my downloads, and I'm going to take these butterflies off of here and put them into this. Boom. And there we go. Now, the other interesting thing is I can't just take this and use it in DaVinci. So what I have to do, see, these are all the little problems that you have to solve when you're doing stuff like this that you don't realize when you're going into it. Is this the one that I like the most? Kind of is. Maybe it isn't, but I think it is. So we go up here and we're going to go save as. And I don't want it saved into the sharp daggery frames, so we're going to go and save it into AI pictures where they were, and we're going to go into Magical Butterflies and save it in the folder that we already had it in. Then I am going to call this Mystical Butterfly. And then I have to go, what I have to do, because it's in a JFIF, whatever that is, I've never heard of it before. A JFIF to a JPEG. And we save that. And then when we go in here, we have our Mystical Butterfly and the file that is a JFIF. So I'm going to delete the JFIF because I don't need both. And now I actually have a file that I can pull up and use in my things because it's just a JPEG now. So these are the little things that I've had to learn. So that's just one of them. And so I shut that off now. Because that was kind of interesting, like trying to do that. Now I'm going to have a cigarette, which means some of this stuff is going to get cut out. That's what I do. Later on, I want to try to do some makeup because I haven't done like makeup in a bit. And I thought that might be fun. I also want to try and do a song that was requested of me. It's it's so weird because I've had people go like, "Why are you putting up all of these songs?" And it's like, well, some of it's because they're just really there for me to use, so that I can see what I need to improve, what songs I may want to do publicly, what songs I'm like going, "Oh, never do that song again." And I put them all up. I really do. Like, there's whatever flaws, I try to minimize how awful it is to the best of my ability, but I don't have recording equipment. So the sound is what the sound is. I'm just recording it coming out of speakers and I'm singing at the same time. There's no mixing of any different tracks involved. It's just, it's very WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. And then on top of that, I try to play around with other things like the images that I'm learning how to create and how to use, the image makers for. I have used a lot of images and a lot of little video snippets that I've taken from Pixabay and Vecteezy and there's another one, FreePix. Those are the three places that I really have found things to be able to use while I'm practicing. And a lot of that stuff I put on my computer having no idea, who created it, where it came from, how to use it, any of that stuff initially. And now I've got all that stuff on my computer. I don't know how to credit it to the people that have designed the actual art that I used or little pieces. And I've used so much of it in little ways here and there that I feel bad that they're not getting credit for the stuff that I thought was interesting or usable enough that I wanted to use it because it was free. The difference is most of us want things supplied for free, and free is never free. So I really do want to credit the people that deserve the credit for these things that I have found. And I will probably put something here and put something over here and put something up here and maybe down here, and see, and show you the types of things that I've gotten. You've seen a lot of them mixed up anyways, but those are the sites that I go to look for things. So please feel free to check out Pixabay and FreePix and what was the other one I said? Vecteezy, FreePix, and Pixabay. Those are the three things that I used until I discovered the Bing. Now I still use the things that are on my computer, and I've found a few other things, and I've just recently seen how you give credit, because stuff goes by on the screen and I know it's there, but I don't read it all. I just think, oh, I don't need that. I just need to get here, boom, 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 and that's what I do. And my focus isn't on that until I'm looking for it. So now that I'm looking for it, so that I can try and find ways to properly credit people for their products that I am using within the stuff I make, because I don't monetize anything, so I'm not making money using any of these things. I'm just learning a skill. But I still would love to share where I get these things from if I could remember. So when I put them up, if people know where they came from, by all means comment saying, hey, that's from this and everything else. Let people know where they came from, because I'm not taking credit for any of those things. And the closest thing to the AI images that I am taking credit for is I am the one trying to come up with the prompts to create the images that are the end result. And that very much is me. The art itself is not me. But I'm always blown away, because none of those pictures that you saw that were created was what I had in mind when I was describing that. But they're very cool. But they aren't what I was trying to get. And that's the challenge with AI, is trying to get it to give you what you actually want it to give you. If it could just do that, I think, yeah, it would definitely replace artists as people. But because you can't really get a specific end result that you can foresee in advance, entirely, it will never replace artists that way. But I do like to use them. They're fun, they're neat, they're hyper realistic, but you can get all kinds of styles. Like you can type in cartoon style or anything, and you will get the same types of images, whatever it's trying to give you, in those styles. So you could do impressionist, cubist, like everything. Just get it done in those styles. So there is so much fun to be had from an AI image generator. So I appreciate them for what they are and what they aren't. Now, the other thing I discovered on the Bing image generator was I've never typed in anything to get an adult outcome as a picture. Just never have. I might put in handsome, blah, blah, blah. Now, I did make a mistake of writing the word sexy once, because in my mind, sexy doesn't necessarily mean sex. It means, attractive and maybe flirty, slightly suggestive, maybe, a button of a shirt undone a little bit more. Like, that's what I'm thinking when I'm thinking sexy. I'm not thinking nude or naked or having actual sex. Like, none of those things enter my mind. And so when you're typing certain things, if the AI generator thinks that you're trying to go down that path, it won't let you. And I'm like, what? Like, it's telling me that, like, that's sort of like an adult thing that's not allowed. And I'm like, I'm not trying to do anything adult. What is going on here? And so that's what I just realized, that if it thinks that that's what you're trying to suggest. Now, my mind wasn't there, but clearly the artificial intelligence mind was there. Which means whoever programmed it, that's where their mind would be for some of these things too. Now, maybe it's because that's normally what would be looked for when people are looking up certain words, but that is not the case for me. And it's only happened 3 times with all the things I've been trying to, and 2 of them for me trying to reword the exact same thing. So really it's happened twice. And, like, I think you have to really get pretty specific and suggestive, even, subtly, for it to start making those conclusions. Because nothing else that I write, and I could write shirtless man, doesn't think sex for that. But if you write sexy man, not allowed, even though I'm expecting fully clothed. So, you have to kind of train your brain to make these things work right. Now I'm gonna have to find a use for those butterflies. Let's see, should I look up the other one? This isn't, oh, no, that's the one I wanted, so okay. Magical mystical butterfly, I'm gonna call that one. Oh wait, I gotta save it as, and gotta change it. Sometimes I just go and I just change the name and save it, and I'm like going, oh man, I didn't change it from a JPEG to a JPEG. But so much of my time is spent doing that, right? You're trying to do things, and then you have to look this up and look that up, and sometimes I'll research to grab a snippet of something because I want to make sure I get the facts correct. If I'm putting some information out there, if I'm not just stating, hey, it isn't my opinion and I have no idea what I'm talking about, which is a lot of things that I talk about. I have opinions on everything. But I will always say what is factual and what is just my feeling. Because most times I base everything on actual fact. That is the only smart thing to do. But if I don't have enough facts, all I've got is my feelings. So I have feelings and hunches and everything else. And as I acquire information, it may confirm my suspicions and my feelings and my hunches and all of that stuff, or it could refute them. And you have to be open-minded enough to know that when the information refutes what you believe, you have to change what you believe. You can't ignore the facts. I mean, you can choose to do that. It's just ridiculous because it will always make you wrong. And the one thing that bothers me more than anything in the world is being wrong. And I will avoid that like the plague. It's how when people come up and say, well, you said this, and it's like, if it's not true, I couldn't possibly have said it because that's not how I operate. Unless I'm saying, I feel this way about something, or in my opinion, blah, blah, blah. Then, yeah, because I'm not stating any facts. I'm just stating what I think based on absolutely nothing. And people know that. So it's very upfront. So anyone that comes back and says, hey, you said this, and it'd be like, well, then you either didn't understand me, or you weren't listening, or you were looking for something that confirmed your own bias, and you thought that was it. And it wasn't. So anyway, that's just another little bit of tea over my coffee. So here's the coffee, and I'm staying the tea. The tea is coming out over my coffee. I feel like the electric company. Ugh. Bug. There we go. Yes, Scooby? Is there somebody out in the hallway? Sounds like somebody's out in the hallway based on your barking at the door. Wow, 22 minutes have gone by already. Time goes by fast when you're chatting with friends. So I hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful day. This, by the way, this scarf thing, this goes with this and the pants. So I had them on earlier when I was going out with Scooby. So there is video of that somewhere on my channel, not too far before this. I don't know how much time it's going to take for me to pull this together and upload. I have a couple of other things that are in the queue that I'm trying to clear off the computer, and I am getting more and more room. So the makeup thing that I did the other day with, inspired by the sunset with Princess Cray, and that was it was a lot of fun. It did not go the way it did in my head. I did not allow enough space for the actual makeup work, but going from a concept and then trying to apply that concept to my face with the products that I have and the limited knowledge of makeup application that I technically have, I was very satisfied with the process. It was enjoyable to do, and I highly recommend everybody just sit down. Like, if you want to face paint, get some acrylic paint, paint your face. Like, you just do it. Life is too short to not do it. It washes off with water. That's the thing. Like, I'm not permanently tattooing my face, and if somebody put enough thought in and that's what they wanted to do, that's fair. Like, it's their face. I prefer to change things too often to do much in the way of anything permanent. I like different colors at different times. I like different fabrics at different times. I'm in different moods at different times. Sometimes I feel very dark and sinister, which, is kind of fun because I'm still me. I'm still light and happy and optimistic, looking really dark and sinister. So it's just, I love the contrast of that kind of thing. Sometimes I want to look, I don't know, beautiful to a certain degree in a way that I wouldn't, like this, look beautiful. And I don't necessarily have to look beautiful to somebody else. Somebody else could look at me this way and go, oh my God, that's the most beautiful you ever look. And it isn't to me. But I see this all the time. This is the standard me that looks back from a mirror 90% of the time. Because the rest of the time, I'm really not looking in a mirror. Once I'm made up, I don't see myself much, unless it's a picture on a camera, or I happen to, use a public bathroom and there's a mirror, or, I don't even look at the mirror in our own bathroom. I just go in, do what I have to do. Even when I wash my hands at the sink, I'm not looking up at the mirror. I'm looking at what I'm doing. So I rarely see myself, and the reflections in a mirror are backwards to how the world sees us anyway. So it's still not even very authentic. When I see a picture of me, I'm like going, I still don't look the way I thought I looked. Which is, again, why I like to record myself and watch it back going, this is how the world sees me. This is how I can see myself. And I'm okay with that. Even when people go, I don't know why you would look that way going out into the world. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't I? Like, just because you wouldn't doesn't mean I wouldn't or shouldn't or couldn't or. And I also feel bad for the people that think I'm brave for being myself. And I can see where they're coming from. I don't disagree that for people to be themselves in certain situations requires a lot of bravery. Now, when I was younger, the closest thing to being in a closet I ever was more like I just didn't talk about stuff. And my parents and everybody around me seemed to be fine with that. Then one day, I guess I'm gonna have my official coming out story, even though there was really no coming out to be had specifically. But it did not go according to what I was afraid of anyway. Now, I had a storage unit. I was already out of the house. And my father was taking me to my storage unit, either to get something out, to pay a bill, something I had to take care of. And we were waiting for the person to come and let us into the storage unit. And while I was sitting in the car with my father in dead silence, out of the blue, for no reason that I could see whatsoever, my father turned to me and he said, "Are you gay?" And in my head, there was blind panic, because I thought, I've never had to say it. And I don't lie. What do I do? And I said, I am not prepared to have this conversation at this time. That's all I could think to say. And my father said, well, we're going to talk about it. I said, no, we're not. He goes, yes, we are. I said, no, we're not. And he goes, yes, we are. And so I said, fine, yes, I'm gay. Are you happy now? And my father turned and he goes, oh, okay. And that was the end of the discussion. And I was prepared for World War III to come from that, my conservative bank manager father. And then I thought, oh, well, then this gets easy because my mom and I are close. So I guess my dad mentioned something to my mom. And I went up and I said, well, I guess Dad probably told you. And she wouldn't even speak to me. When she finally would mention things, she was so upset, she would freak out. And she gave me the reaction I expected from my father. And my father gave me the reaction that I expected from my mother. It was completely reversed. Completely. And it was so unexpected, and it took me by surprise that I was quite devastated by that, because I wasn't really concerned about having my dad's support. I'd done without it for a lot of things for so much of my life. Now, that makes it sound like I don't love and respect my father, and that was not true. We just were very, very different people with very different beliefs. My father was a very good man, and I would like to think that I am a very good person. I strive to be. That is my goal all the time. But his beliefs from his upbringing, he was raised by a very racist mother that I didn't even realize until I became an adult. All the stuff that I saw when I was a child didn't really register as anything one way or the other. But it does start adding up when, she wouldn't eat off a plate that a different ethnicity person brought her unless they were wearing gloves, and like little things like that. And like she didn't say anything. She didn't say, "Oh well, I can't eat that because they." She would just suddenly not have an appetite, and that was it. Right? Nobody discussed it. Nobody said why. Nobody, right? And I never thought anything much of it until later, and I started putting it together, going, it always happens under these circumstances. And then I started asking questions. And then I started getting some answers. And I went, oh my gosh, my grandmother was horribly, horribly racist. So that's where my dad got it. Because I don't think my dad had a hatred for any of these people. There are certain things he had in his mind that were incorrect when it pertained to people coming into our country from other countries, and what they were given, according to my dad, that he had to work for. There's a lot of misinformation he had about that kind of thing that formulated his intense feelings on the subject matter, but none of that really has any bearing on me or my life. They certainly didn't force any of those beliefs on us, even though we were very, very well aware of what their beliefs were. I never thought of my dad as being maliciously racist, but that doesn't change anything, really. Some people are very insidious with how they go about it. Like, my dad would never put in policies to hate people, but my dad was one of those people that literally used the statement, I can't be racist, some of my best friends are N-word. That was what I had to deal with. And you couldn't tell him he was racist, because that just was so not true in his mind. And I don't know how you can have that kind of cognitive dissonance about your own beliefs, but he did. So, so that's where it was. My mom freaked out when she found out I was gay. My dad seemed it was fine. But then it turns out that my mom was just a bit in shock and didn't understand, because my mom's big dream was to have grandchildren. And I said, well, that doesn't change anything one way or the other. Like, I could be straight and I still wouldn't have children. The fear for my mom was I was really her last hope, because my sister was less likely to have a child than I would be to produce one naturally out of my male body, giving birth to it. So my mom knew that I was the last hope. And once that was that bubble was sort of burst for her, it was very hard for her to take, that she just suddenly realized that she would never be a grandmother in that traditional sense that she was looking forward to. And I think that's where her response actually came from, is all the things that she felt she was losing out on because of the way I am, or what my sister feels about, having children. Excuse me. And then my dad, he was okay with it only because he thought it was a phase, or it wasn't even that he thought. He thought because I was rebellious. I was just saying that to purposefully rebel against what he would want to be true. I've never lived my life that way. I've never in my life ever lived my life trying to be something I wasn't for the sake of someone else. Now, other than trying to not be in your face, glaringly homosexual to the point of making people uncomfortable when I was younger. And that was because of societal restrictions, of what societal norms, even though there's nothing normal about any part of society as far as I'm concerned. There are just commonalities. But if you think about anything, it's all pretty abnormal. Reproduction's weird when you really think about it. The whole concept is just, there's just so much going on. It's so sloppy. And, some things are better left not being thought about too deeply. because you're going to experience. Like, I don't want to think of myself walking through the mud with it gushing up between my toes, and like, that just sounds awful. But the act of actually doing it, of just, you just go out there and you just do it, and it feels awesome until you think about it in too much detail. And I find a lot of things in life, for me, fall into those categories. It's good to have a broad sense of how things go and what things are, but the more detailed you look into it, the more bizarre or gross or disturbing or any other horrible, negative kind of things tend to be. But I think it's also important to have the facts and not be living in a dream bubble that, isn't based on reality. I like my awareness of reality. I don't have to dwell and wallow in the muck of it all. But I think it's time. It's been 40 minutes, and I'm gonna have to cut a bunch of this out anyway, I'm sure. I don't know, maybe this makes 2 videos for all I know. I never know until I'm starting to edit. So, on that note, until the next time, as always, take care of yourselves and each other. Mwah.